We start the game off with e4, right? I play my trusted Karakan, right? This is what I've been studying, kind of to an extent. I don't know everything, but I'm just gonna hope and pray, right? Knight f3, and then I hit him with d5. He just develops his own knight out, but I've learned it's just you take here. And then he plays this goofy, like, knight g5 move, right? Double attacking the pawn. And I'm not too sure why he wants to do this, but hey, he's doing it anyway, right? I could play c4 here. I could, just trying to hang on to the pawn advantage. But here's the thing: I feel like that's kind of what he wants. I don't think that I don't think I should play into what he wants, right? So I'm just like, you know what, just take the pawn. That I wanted you to take the pawn anyway. I don't know what you're doing, right? And also attacking his knight in the process with this move, right? So then he plays d3, defending the knight and just attacking the pawn. And I'm like, okay, I'm just take, and now I secure my pawn advantage, and he's done nothing. I mean, he's developed a bishop, and to be fair, he's developed 3 pieces, and I've developed nothing. But that's fine, all right? That's a-okay. Knight f6, I develop my first piece, right? He castles. I just kick the knight out, and it's an inaccuracy, and it's actually it's a 1 point of advantage because of knight takes f7, forking the rook and the queen, because if I take, it's intercontinental ballistic missile right on my queen. This isn't actually completely winning because you can still defend the queen like this, but this is still bad, right? And then for here, you would need to play queen e2 to keep an advantage, or not. I guess Stockfish just decided to go back on that. Okay, now Stockfish is saying queen e1. I guess it just doesn't want the queen trade. So anyway, that didn't happen because he played knight f3, right? Like the coward he is. So then I bring my bishop out, right? He brings his rook out. I bring my bishop out to pin the knight to the king, a knight to the queen. But, however, knight takes e5 is the best move. Sacrificing the queen, going, oh no, my queen, thinking of Eric Rosen. If you take here, right, knight takes c6. Bang, bang. And then you win the queen back, which is kind of crazy, right? My opponent was not seeing that at all. The best move here is just to take here and then just kind of suck it, right? I didn't even realize that the queen was hanging, right? If that were to happen. I didn't even see any of that. Of course, none of that happened because he just played h3, missing the entire idea, and now it's completely equal, right? And so I stepped back, which is apparently a mistake because you just want to get rid of that knight because you don't want to deal with this stuff, right? So Stockfish is mad at me, but then he pushes his pawn. I thought this would be a mistake, but apparently not. It's a great move. It's a fantastic move from good old Nestor. Good job, buddy, right? And so I slide my bishop back. He takes, I take, right? He takes the pawn now, right? And I don't take back because I just walking into a check, and I don't like checks, right? Unless the check's full of money, then yeah, sure. So I just castle. Right? I don't want to get into this hassle, so I castle. He just takes the pawn, and now he has the pawn advantage, and I have to move the rook out so that he doesn't just take my rook. We trade, and he takes my bishop, right? Because my queen is defending the bishop. But here, I could just take the knight. I'm be honest for a second. When I played this game, I completely missed that my bishop was hanging, and I also completely missed that the knight was here. So I thought I just kind of fumbled everything. But no, it's okay, it's okay. I didn't fumble everything, I just fumbled one pawn. And that's very nice, and a 2.3 evaluation for white. So it's fine, right? He checks me, I move my king out the way, and he plays queen c8, which is kind of crazy. Because the point is, my rook can't move, and the only way for my rook to move is if my knight moves, right? My knight moves there or there. I can't draw arrows, but you get what I'm saying. But thing is, if my knight moves, he takes the rook. If I push up and move my rook, he takes the knight, which is pretty big brain, right? I will give that to him. So I put my queen back, offering a trade, and once he takes, my second idea of queen e8 is to move the knight out, defending the knight with this, and now defending the rook like this, right? I lose another pawn, right? So now he's up 3 pawns and a 3 point advantage, but it's a-okay, right? We've done worse. We've gone through worse, right? So then I just attack his queen because I don't know what to do. He moves back. I check his king because I don't know what to do. He moves forward. I attack his queen because I don't know what to do. He forks my king and my rook. And it's GG's, right? He got me there, he got me there, right? So then I just block the check, and it is a blunder. Now, here's the thing. I did not know this was a blunder at the time, right? Neither did my opponent. If my opponent knew, of course he wouldn't have played. But somehow, by some miracle, there is a line that genuinely wins the game for black, which is pretty crazy. And somehow I found it. It starts out with knight h4 check, right? King's got 2 moves. He can either go back and get absolutely railed by the queen, or he can slide in forward, right? I check him again. And here's the thing. If he takes here, that's checkmate, right? So you can't do that. Only other move is to go king f4, where I would take the pawn. This is his only legal move. And then I bring the knight back to check. And now he's got 2 legal moves again, right? He picks the better move that doesn't lead to checkmate, right? And then we got this. Now look at this kind of structure, it's kind of like a spine or whatever, right? Like this knight is controlling these 2 squares. This knight is controlling these 2 squares, right? Like this, and then the queen is controlling everything else. That's pretty sick. Honestly, that's very epic. And so he has to block with the queen. That's his only legal move, right? And then I check the king, trying to prime away. And then either which way he goes, I fork him again, and I win his queen. This is the only line from back here, all the way when he took my rook. This is the only line that wins, right? You have to play these sequence of moves. This will be an insane chess.com puzzle, right? Somehow, some way, I got it, right? So I got his queen, and now I'm pinning his bishop like this, the same way he did to me, right? Because he can't move the rook or he loses the bishop. He can't move the bishop or he loses the rook, right? I'm doing the same thing back to him, right? He moves his king because he doesn't know what to do. He's trying to hide it, I guess. And then I just take his pawn because I like pawns, right? And then he takes his other pawn with check. He moves his king out the way, right? And then I check again. And then I win his bishop, right? Now he's dead. Now he's just dead lost, right? 6.8 advantage. This should be completely fine. And then he just brings his rook out and attacks my queen. I just slide the queen back, right? I ain't getting into too much trouble. And then he brings the rook forward. I have no idea what he's doing, but he's kind of just hoping and praying that if I ever come into check and he can't do that. He just blocks or something. I have no idea what he's doing. So then I kind of do some fancy knight dance where I move the knights like this, and they're defending each other, right? This is a very epic knight positioning where they defend each other. But the thing is, the knights aren't doing anything there, so I don't know what's the point, but I'm sure there's a point somewhere. So then he moves his king back, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just promote a pawn. What's he gonna do? And he tries to bring his rook back. He tries to bring his knight in the way, but then I pin him again. Can't move his knight because he loses the rook. Can't move his rook because he loses the knight. Doing it again. This guy thought queen c8 was some brilliant move, but I'm doing it to him now. And so he moves a pawn, so he can get out the way, right? Meanwhile, I'm just pushing, right? And he defends himself and attacks my queen. But I just take that, because then I get a new queen. And then he's kind of dead here, so I'm just going again. I'm just getting another one. And he just resigns after this check, because he knows that I'm dead, that he's dead. Because if he moves here, he gets forked. And same with here. And if he goes here, it's not a fork there, but a fork there. And it's easy game. GG.